guys, Eric Coney here, bpisecurity.com, Friday, January 6, 2012, Q&A Fridays. Today's question comes along the lines of motorcade protocols. Specifically, a gentleman and another security specialist will be in a follow-up vehicle following a primary vehicle with high-value cargo. He wants to know about lane changing, blocking, and navigating in traffic. But before I get to that, the first thing and most important thing I can tell you right now is tell the client you need to talk to the primary driver ahead of time. Do not wait until the day that you guys are going to hit the road and have this conversation. You want to plan out your routes together. I would not use GPS as my primary mode of navigation. I would use that as a backup. Plan your routes out together. The GPSs are notorious for trying to find new satellites, and it's just a bunch of headaches. That's number one. When you have this meeting with him, whether it's on phone or in person, preferably in person, if you're able to drive the route, do the route ahead of time so you know, and specifically do it at the time that you're going to be traveling, so you'll get used to what the traffic patterns are, what kind of issues you may be dealing with at that time of day. I always say if you can drive the route, drive it at the time that you're going to be moving on that route. Now, as far as lane changing, you tell him or her when they want to change lanes, they turn their signal on. Allow you to get over into that lane and then let them come over in front of you. That's how lane changes go. It's no rocket science. It's not rocket science. It's that simple. But if you don't tell them that, what will inherently happen is this. They will lane change, and next thing you know, you're 2 lanes over and behind them trying to play catch up. It happens all the time. But they have to follow that protocol or you're going to be playing catch up, and then next thing you know, they'll be making a turn and you're going to be stuck in traffic going 2 or 3 blocks past. So that's important. And that happens to everybody. So you're not the only one, but you have to talk to these drivers ahead of time and get them on the same sheet of music. Navigating in traffic. Make sure that they do not pull up behind cars in traffic to the point where they cannot get out of that lane if an emergency happens. Conversely, you don't pull up too close to them that they can't back up and move, or that you're too far away to allow other cars to get in between you. That's important for both of you. So let them know, because people are notorious, whether they're security drivers or not, is that when they come to a traffic light, they'll pull right up on the back of a car that's in front of them. The car behind them will do the same. And if an emergency situation happens, you're stuck, you're jammed in there. So you want to let them know to leave themselves at least a half a car distance between the car in front of them and their car, which will alleviate anybody getting in between in that lane. But it more importantly allows them to get out in the case of emergency, and you leave that same type of distance behind them. When you're traveling down the road, you want to leave safe enough distance that you can see their rear lights, but close enough that another car won't switch lanes in front of you. And that's a tough navigational, if you have not taken a security driver course, that's kind of tough for somebody who's just doing it for the first time, because you don't want to be following too closely, because if he hits on the brakes and you ram in the back of him, guess what? Now you're both on the X standing in the middle of the street. The other thing is that you want to be following too closely that the police will stop you. So those are the most important things I want to let you know. Plan your routes out ahead of time. Keep that information between the two of you, and the only people who need to know that information are the people who have vested interest in that product. Not where you're going, but people who have vested interest in that product. So I hope that answers your question. The other thing for today I want to go over real briefly, and I'm going to discuss it in depth next week, is this non-disclosure or confidentiality agreement. And I was going to wait till next week, but I want to talk a little bit about it today. You have to get this piece of paper out to your people. It will alleviate, or at least it won't. If it doesn't alleviate, you'll have some type of recourse for these guys who are out there running their mouths, selling the secrets of clients. If you are in a contractual agreement with a client and you're just signing that contract, most cases there is a clause in there about confidentiality or non-disclosure in there. If there is, and you have not issued a non-disclosure to your people, you're still responsible for whatever story they tell. I issue non-disclosures to all of my guys. It's important. It's not that I don't trust them, but it's a safety measure for me, because if they say something that comes back and it's going to bite me, well, they're going to get bit too, because they're in violation of non-disclosure. I'm going to go over that in depth next week, but I just wanted to make sure that another day didn't go past that I didn't really reiterate the fact of how important this non-disclosure agreement is. The one gentleman who was on Herman Cain's Detail and wrote that book about his secrets of his clients bragged about the fact that he had so many years in this industry and never signed a non-disclosure agreement. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing that he can brag about that. So if you're a company out there and you're not issuing non-disclosure agreements, you need to start today. You need to start today. So anyway, I hope I answered the question earlier. I didn't mention the guy's name, even though he said that he didn't tell me not to mention his name, just for operational security. I don't want to mention his name in the fact that somebody knows who he is and knows that what he's going to be doing. So anyway, guys, enjoy your weekend. Stay tuned next week for the weekly announcement, rather, and then Q&A Fridays. Don't be sure to send your questions in. Don't forget to subscribe and leave your comments below. Thank you.